Hey guys, welcome to another one of my 13 Halloween makeup tutorials. This one is going to be Poisoned Ivy, so we've got like the vines going up around the neck, the veins on the face, and a little bloody twist. So if you want to know how to do this, then I'm just going to hop right into it. I'm starting out with this green color from the Ofra Cosmetics Bright Addiction palette. I'm going to use this to contour my face, so I'm focusing this on my cheekbone area, blending it out a little bit, and then I'm just going to run it up my temples and across my forehead. Basically just placing this anywhere that I normally contour. I'm also just going to take a tiny bit of that eyeshadow and run it underneath my jaw. I'm taking Envy by Makeup Geek, which is a really dark green eyeshadow. I'm just taking the tiniest amount on my brush, and I'm just going to apply this on the outermost parts of the contour, just to add a little bit more depth. And then I'm just taking a fluffy brush that has no product on it, and I'm just going to blend those colors out together. Do you see that fly that just flew across my screen, trying to sabotage me? I'm taking a light highlight shade and I'm just going to apply this to the very tops of my cheekbones. This isn't really necessary, obviously, but I just felt like it would give my face a little bit more of a glow. I'm taking this red from the Suva Beauty Pro palette and I'm taking this on a Pony Cosmetics brow brush. I'm just going to fill in my brows like I normally do, except with red eyeshadow, obviously. And I'm extending my brows a little bit farther than normal to make them look a little more dramatic. I'm taking this dark burgundy shade called Bitten from Makeup Geek, and I'm just placing this on the outer half of my brows. Now I'm moving on to the eyes. I'm taking the same light green shade that I used to contour with, and I'm just making an outer V shape right there on the outermost part of my eye, and I'm also blending it in onto my lid a little bit. I'm extending that line all the way over across my crease, and I'm just blending more as I go. I want it to be kind of a gradient effect, so I don't want the whole lid to be green. I'm just going to blend it out until it's just a very light green in the center of the lid. I'm taking Envy, that same dark green, and I'm just going to outline the outer V shape and then blend it into the lighter green. I'm taking this matte white from the Suva Beauty Pro palette and I'm just going to highlight the inner corner of my eye and underneath the brow bone. I'm using e.l.f. Cosmetics liquid liner to do some winged liner, and I'm just following the bottom of the outer V and then of course dragging it across my lid. For mascara, I'm just adding a quick coat of the L'Oreal Voluminous Million Lashes. And then I'm moving on to my lower lash line. I'm taking Envy again on a small blending brush. I'm just going to run this all the way across my lower lash line, and then I'm going to blend out with some lighter green on top of that. I switched to a bigger brush to get more of a smoky eye look. And then I'm just going back in with Envy and just darkening up right underneath my lower lash line. The false lashes I'm wearing today are the Kiss No. 11s, and I'm just applying those with a tweezer, and then I'm just going along and adding some mascara to my lower lashes. The lipstick I'm wearing is called Cherry Pop. I think that's the name. I'll list it down in the description box, but it's by Bella Pierre Cosmetics, so I'm just kind of putting this all over my lips, and then to perfect the lines I'm going to use the Smith lip brush. I'm going back in with the light green that we used to contour the face, and I'm just going to contour kind of the rest of my chest area. So I'm taking it underneath my collarbones just really lightly. I'm not going to do like a ton of color down there. And then I'm just kind of contouring these neck tendons or whatever you want to call them. I basically just wanted to continue the contouring from my face down to my chest. And this part is a little awkward, a little weird, but whatever, it had to be done. Actually, it doesn't have to be done, so if you don't want to, then just skip this step. But I'm going to contour me some boobies. So I'm taking that light green and I'm just kind of making these half C shapes, obviously just the shape of boobs. And then I'm taking a smaller brush and I'm taking just a tiny bit of Envy, which is that darker green, and I'm just going over that with smaller strokes and lighter strokes to add a little bit more definition. So basically this just consists of adding darker colors and then blending out, and then adding that darker color again and blending out some more, just until it looks okay. So as far as the outfit goes, you could wear whatever you want. I would suggest probably wearing like a leotard with some fake leaves glued to it. I didn't have one, so I'm just making these leaves out of my green body paint, and I'm using the Wolf Effects Essentials palette. I'm outlining the leaves with a black gel liner and an angled brush. And also, as I'm outlining, I'm kind of dragging that product up in between each leaf to add a little bit of depth and dimension. I decided to go over that outline with the black paint in that same paint palette just to make it stand out a little bit more. And I'm also going in and kind of detailing the leaves, making these lines. And now I'm starting on the vines, or the poison ivy, I guess, going up the chest and around the neck. I wanted it to look like it was kind of suffocating her, so that's why I'm going up and around the neck a few times, just to make it look like it was wrapping around my neck. So I'm just starting at each leaf, and I'm making the vines thicker at the bottom and then thinning out as they get up near the top of my neck. You can do this however you want. There's obviously no just specific way to do this the right way, but I decided to make about 10 vines or so that were extending from the leaves up around my neck. And I'm making sure that they crisscross one another so they don't look like perfect or anything like that. I'm just going in where I have any blank space that looks like it needs a little bit more going on, and I'm just adding little vines coming off of the bigger vines. Now to add these little spiky type things, I'm just going to take a small paintbrush and I'm just going to do these little curly Q type shapes. And they're going to be thicker towards the base and then thinner towards the hook part. I'm basically just going around and adding 2 or 3 of these to each vine. And you want to make sure that they're all pointing upwards. You don't want any going down, you just want them to all be growing in the same direction. I decided to switch to a smaller brush for the smaller ones. So once I have those done, I'm going to start outlining each and every vine. I started out with a black eyeliner pencil and I didn't like how it looked, but I'm just going to go ahead and show you how that looked at first. It was kind of messy, but after that I decided to go back over it with the black paint in the paint palette. So here I'm using the black paint. As you can see, it's just a lot thicker and more opaque, so it looked a lot better and it was easier to use. So I'm just going around and outlining each one like I said, and you want to be careful because you want some to look like they're overlapping the others. So just make sure that when you have 2 intersecting, you know which one you want to be laying on top of the other. And as you can see, I kind of went ahead and outlined each of the little spiky things first with a smaller brush, so I didn't have to do it with the bigger brush. So now I'm taking Envy, that dark green eyeshadow, and I'm just going to shadow each of these vines that are peeking out from underneath a different vine, because obviously there would be a natural shadow there. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just taking a small kind of flat concealer brush, and then I'm just blending it out. This is just going to help them not look so flat. It's going to make them look a tiny bit more three-dimensional. Not that they look three-dimensional, but you know what I mean. I'm taking Unexpected from Makeup Geek. It's just a really light, kind of taupey gray color. And I'm just using this to cast a shadow from each vine. So I'm just going along pretty much where I put the gel liner, and I'm just blending this eyeshadow out underneath it. If you're darker skin toned than me, I would use probably a cool toned darker brown eyeshadow, or even black. Just put a tiny bit of the black eyeshadow on a brush and just blend it out. But this eyeshadow is really good to create shadows on pale skin tones. I'm just going around with the black paint, and I decided to add some really tiny spikes. Moving on to my face, I'm going to create some green veinage type stuff going on, so I'm just doing really squiggly marks. You want to use a really tiny brush for this, and this is the Smith 202. I looked at a picture of veins for reference, which was really helpful. So I'm basically just kind of applying more eyeshadow in some spots and then less eyeshadow in other spots, because veins aren't just one uniform color. They're kind of, you know, gradient in different colors, and they're darker in some spots. And I'm making sure that they're tapered out the higher they go. So I'm basically just doing this across my entire jawline on both sides of my face. And then I'm also extending it underneath my eyes, so I'm basically just doing the same thing that I did across my jaw, but underneath my eyes, obviously. You basically just want to start with one line and then create veins that are branching off from it. I'm taking Envy again, and I'm just darkening up some spots of the veins. I'm not darkening up each and every single thing that I drew, but I'm just kind of darkening up each prominent line in the middle, and then some of the smaller lines off to the side. And then I'm just setting everything with a translucent setting powder. This is going to make it look like they're a bit more under the skin. I decided to go in with that green face paint and paint my hand, and then I'm just adding some details around my nail, blackening it up to make it look a little more, you know, gross. And that's pretty much it for the Poisoned Ivy look, but if you want to take it a step further, you can, and that's what I'm going to do. So if you don't like the sight of blood, then don't watch this next part. I'm taking this edible spray blood, but it wouldn't spray very well. I kind of had some troubles with that, but I'm just placing some on each corner of my mouth, and it kind of went crazy and got everywhere, but don't worry, it's edible. But if you are using this, I would be careful, just because, I don't know, you just don't want too much of that in your mouth, even though it's edible. And then I just helped it kind of drag down my chin with a brush. Alright guys, that's it for the look. I hope you liked this one, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!